Dr. Allana Da Graca here, president of Turning on the Lights Global Institute. And I want to say it's so good to see you guys. I've been having a great time just getting things together and getting excited about the holiday experience and also thinking about those leaders and women entrepreneurs and yours truly and how I really want to see 2025 shape up. And I think about 2024 so far, and I've had a great time. But honestly, there were parts of 2024 for me where I realized the importance of slowing down, taking some sabbatical moments to kind of rest and think about where I wanted my tribe, the International Women Build Confidence Conference community, to be in the following year. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Dr. Allana Da Graca, and I'm the president of Turning on the Lights Global Institute. And since 2016, we've been helping people reach personal and professional goals, and it has been exciting. But we have a great announcement, which is that starting now and moving into 2025, you will start seeing a lot more of what we call Spark lessons in our YouTube community and in our actual community as those of you who are part of the Told You Spark fam. So we have a lot of new things going on. And today I want to start this discussion by allowing you to think about the fact that we have one key word we've been saying for years, which is upgrade. Upgrade is our key word. And I don't think it's going to change because the idea around the word upgrade means to raise something to a higher standard. I feel like every year I'm raising something else to another level. And for those of you who are leaders, you're experts, you are heart driven. Look, every single time you get to a new year, think about how you can raise the level of what you're doing to a whole new level and a standard. And the way you do that is by taking time to look at things that have worked, to look at things that didn't work, to celebrate the wins you had this year, and to also look at areas where you said, "Ooh, I don't want to do that," or "I don't want to work with those types of clients anymore." Because if you have been an entrepreneur for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and definitely beyond, you know what I'm talking about. Whether you have a service, a product, an experience you've created for other people, you have to get to a place where you start to value having off times where you can kind of self-reflect and see, do I enjoy this anymore? Do I want to change how I'm doing things? Do I want to change who I'm working with? Do I want to change how I am taking care of myself? Meaning I need to give myself more time. Like, you need those moments so that you can feel that you are in alignment with where you want to be in your life with the things that you are committing yourself to. Because look, we only have one life. And let me actually start off by sharing a part of my book, Upgrade My Life in Biz. And you can find this book on Amazon. And if you do, please write us a lovely review. But I go on page 19 to say, I remember when I said I can upgrade my life in 2018. But when I said it, few signs showed me that leveling up as an entrepreneur was possible. What do I mean? Well, the toll of moving abroad, leaving a familiar 9 to 5, and staring at my hidden goals that were stuck in journals, they haunted me for years. But a wake-up call and a move back home to my city of Boston would remind me of the 20-year-old girl who wrote down her purpose at age 21. Life just got in the way, and it seemed too much had passed. How would I be able to start all over again? Because no one wants to be reminded of what they could have been. So I had to wipe the slate clean and remind myself that this is my moment and this is my time and nothing can stop me. And even though I wrote these words in 2021 and 2022, this statement, this is my moment, this is my time, nothing can stop me and nothing can hold me, is still relevant even right now because we have experienced life since the pandemic. We were in our homes. We had to completely pivot, right, and work from home. Now people are pivoting back and going back to work And some people made life changes. Many people got divorced. People completely shifted gears and said, this is not what I want to do. And more entrepreneurs were created overnight. And now we get this chance to kind of look at everything and ask ourselves, who do I want to be now? Who do I want to be in 2025? And some of you, I mean, I'm just going to say it, some of you do need a coach. You need support. You need someone that will stand with you, because I cannot tell you how many people I talk to and I have meetings with, and I ask them, what and where would you like to be 6, 12 months from now? And they give me this amazing goal, right? And behind them, there's clutter, or in their mind, there's just so many ideas that it's hard to kind of pinpoint where to start. And then on top of that, a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're starting out, it's kind of like they already have the whole idea of, well, I've already done those programs. I've already done it. I've already read the books. How come I'm still here? I've already gone through the modules. But what I realize is that the problem is not that entrepreneurs are not willing. The problem is not that they are not passionate about what they're doing. Sometimes we got to truly understand what it means to wipe the slate clean. We have to be willing to say, wiping the slate clean for me might mean that even though I think I can do all these things, I need to start from scratch. Because yes, we all have great potential, but until we really are able to understand every facet of what it is that we're trying to do and develop the skills necessary to align with those other pieces, we'll just be like, going on a hamster wheel, because we know where we want to be, and yet we keep feeling like we're going in circles. And the only way to sometimes switch that is to get help, or to take smaller paced sequence steps. Even as an educator, one thing we always know is that when we want our students to reach a new goal, we have to really make the smaller steps so tangible that everybody is on the same page, and so that we can get to that outcome. And a lot of times, because it looks so easy, we may forfeit the very steps that are needed, right? And so I really want you to think about how you want this year to be different. And so for me, I had to make the decision that I truly was going to upgrade. But let me share with you some things I really had to do, because I was a singer, a poet, a writer, a creative. I could do all the things, teacher, speaker, you name it. And what was frustrating was I just wanted things to feel perfect. So I always said, well, I'll get to it when everything is perfect. And it never got perfect. And so one thing I realized I had to do was create really, really simplistic goals. And the first one was, okay, I'm only going to focus on these 2 areas. So in my business, I decided I would only focus on women building confidence and showing women leaders, executives, and some men as well, how to use digital storytelling to grow their brands. And it was amazing, because when I narrowed things down, things got really, really clear. And in order for you to move forward in your new next, you have to be very clear about who you want to be in this new chapter. And look, you may have started out doing something and no longer like it. So you have the opportunity to say, well, I want to pivot careers completely. You might decide to only focus on one aspect of your business, or only one niche group within your business, so that you have more joy with it. Like, you are going to have to find ways to insert joy so you have elements of fun, because not all aspects of business are fun. Not all the paperwork and all the legalities and all your things that you have to do to keep it going. There are all of these pieces that have to be in place. But you can simply make the decision, you know what, I am going to upgrade. And upgrading for me might mean pulling back and slowing down. Secondly, you may need to ask for help. And one of the things I tell people all the time is whether you have money to invest in the help or you have time to invest in the business, you're going to have to choose one or the other. And look, you have to make the decision to upgrade. So you can't tell me you hope to have, a 5-figure business or even a 4-figure business, but you haven't made the time on your schedule or your calendar to actually insert the necessary steps, because your actions, intentions, and your outcomes will always prove what your results will end up showing. So I want to commend you, first of all, for stepping out with your goals and dreams. But I also want to caution you and to realize that the only way 2025 will be different is when you can look at the actions that you have had over the past year. And you can say, oh, I need to step up those actions, or I need to tweak those actions or change them. In my circumstance, for example, I remember the early days of being a social media micro influencer, and being on Instagram and on all the platforms every single day, every afternoon, right? I remember doing that, and it was useful for a time. And then I decided, you know what? That is no longer how I want to spend my time. And now I want to streamline how I share my genius to the world. You may decide that. Now, I know that there are other influencers telling you that you need to post 12 times a day and, it's all about capturing attention. And even though that is true, you are a human being and you don't have a massive tribe of people or a team putting together this stuff for you, right? So until it gets more complicated and you are growing your solopreneur business, the best thing you can do is master how you spend your time. And part of that is thinking about, what is your service? Who's going to purchase that service? And how can you figure out how you want to disseminate information about that service? Now, look, you can have artificial intelligence, you can have short form video, you can have all these things, but at the end of the day, when people make the decision to invest in you, they just want to know that the product works, that the service is what it is. So at the end of the day, the question is, with you being how you are, introverted or extroverted, how can you share parts of that service or that business? How can you give small samples, snippets of who you are to the world so that they get to experience you? That's it. Now, there are tons of solutions out there, tons of complicated funnels. You name it, I've tried it. And there are tons of website designs. And so much has changed today. Like, I remember 20 years ago when I was in this space, how expensive those tools would be, where now basically anybody can use a lot of the tools, tech tools, to get their businesses up and running at a limited cost. But it still does not detract from the fact that you have to get the message out. And at some point, people need to close the deal with you, because you can go to all the marketing events you want. You can buy all the books, but at the end of the day, especially when you're starting, you are going to have to be the person to say, hey, here's my product and my service, and this is what the value of it is. And, if this is something that you need, here is the solution, and here is the price, and here is where you click. Because if you do everything else, but you forget to ask the person to make the purchase, that's like making spaghetti. Everybody can smell it, but just not serving it. So we have to make a decision. If 2025 is going to be different, then we have to make the decision to set ourselves up for the wins we are expecting. And so for me, that meant, yes, I had to ask for help. And like I said in my book, I said, this is my time. And I had to really believe it. Like, this is the year I'm going to do it. That's why I love watching like sports shows, because I've been watching, oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of it right now, but I was watching this show. You guys probably know what I'm referencing. It was on Netflix, and it was about this high school football team and the coach, and how they were at a community college and the team just kept losing, but they brought in a new coach, and boom, out of so many years, of poor performance, the team finally comes home with a trophy and like everybody is super excited. But one thing I remembered is that the coach in the beginning of the year told them, look, forget what didn't work all the years before. This is a new team. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to focus. And it was really cool to see how bringing in that fresh energy and that coach just realizing he didn't care about the losses from the year before. He just cared about who he had in front of him. And that's a great example of what we can do. You can't keep crying over what didn't work, especially if your business closed or you haven't made the sales you wanted to make. You at some point have to say, wait a minute, this is my moment. Now, here's the other thing I'm going to say before I go. I don't believe that a successful entrepreneur should work to the point where they are no longer healthy. I don't believe that, because just because they might be profitable, but if they can't breathe, they're low on energy, they're tired, and all the other things, I think that that entrepreneur really needs to find more balance. So to me, success can be measured in a lot of ways. And so I do advise that, yes, grow your business, but don't do it at the expense of your own health, which is why I think it's really important to know your limitations and to know when you need to take a break and listening to your body and having support. Because again, there are times when you will have frustration. There are times when things will not be going your way, and you're going to need the energy to be able to circumnavigate around those challenges. And part of that means that you also give yourself time to fail. Give yourself time to say, oh my gosh, that didn't work. And give yourself time to take a breath. Because when you don't, sometimes the tendency is like, oh, it's not working. I'm just going to keep working until it does. But actually, if you notice you've been working and doing things the same way, and you haven't seen the changes yet, it's probably an indicator that you need to pause and actually stop. And when you pause and stop, you'll be surprised at how your energy will be revitalized, and you'll find a new sense of how you want to focus. So if I were your teacher, and for those of you who are my clients, then pretend I'm staring at you. But if I were your teacher in this moment, here are the things I really want you to think about. Actually, I'm going to just pull it from my book. So let's see. I really want you to think about, how do I want my 2025 to be? But I'm gonna give you the assignment that's right up here in the book. It says, can you write a journal to yourself about what your new future will look like? And jot down 3 outcomes that occur from the changes you are making. So it's kind of like, if you were to think, we're in November right now. If you were to think, okay, I have this big goal. I really want to have my own community, or I really want to sell X, Y, and Z. I want you to jot down in a journal, what do you think is going to take for you to actually have that outcome? And then I want you to jot down 3 drastic things you can do to get to that outcome, right? So the misnomer is that a lot of people nowadays, they know the value of social media. So they'll say things to me like, oh, I'm going to jump on and do a video tomorrow. No, I need you to remember, your goal is to have real people purchase and use your product. So the question then becomes, do you need to actually call people? I've told some clients, pick up the phone and call the person. They're like, oh, I don't do phone calls. Well, you might need to, because the phone call is completely different than just somebody reading an email amongst tons of other emails. You might need to actually call and spend time with the person on the phone and really talk to them. I can't tell you how many clients I closed over the pandemic period because I called them, because they were so overwhelmed. Number 2, I really want you to make those steps drastic. So for example, if you want to make more sales, like I said, you might need to make those phone calls. Number 2, how are you showing up on the platforms that you like to engage in? So I don't think you need to be on every platform, but I do think you need to pick a platform, especially the one that you like, because that's probably where you spend a lot of time. And that's probably where people who are like you or who would like your service or product would also like to be. If you like spending time on LinkedIn, then ask yourself, how am I showing up on LinkedIn? If you like showing up on spending time on YouTube, how do I want to show up on YouTube? And you don't have to be like everybody else. You can be unique. I don't think you have to be on there every single day. Maybe it's just once a week. Maybe it's a set time twice a week. You have to think about your schedule. This is your business, and you are the hero or shero of your own business model. So I want you to think about these things as you write the journal. And look, we really want to hear from you. So I either want you, A, to comment below or to go ahead and subscribe to toldspark.com so we can officially